Now, still on the LMC and talking about sponsorships. Now, a lot of people think getting a sponsor is kind of straightforward.
Yeah.
Now, how does this work? And how does, we've seen the NFF announce a lot of sponsors recently, especially under the tenure of the current president, Amaju Bello. Now, how does it work? How does getting a sponsorship work? And how is the NFF getting sponsors more than the way the LMC are getting? Can you just explain this and how does it work?
Okay, so first off, it is brand attraction. And in the last couple of days or weeks, I've had to answer this question in different places. Yesterday I was lecturing and I also had to answer partly this question. So first off, one of the reasons why our NFF and LMC have always struggled with sponsorship is the 4-year turnover of leadership. If you go to England, the English FA does not change the FA chairman or FA president every 4 years. Neither do they do that in Germany, Spain, Italy, anywhere where football is progressing. Also, the person, they don't change. They have a 4-year, but they renew you. They keep you there on the job. Listen, Emmanuel, if you come into office, your first year, nobody's going to do business with you. No matter how good you think you are, nobody's going to do business with you because they want to know who you are. People want to know you. It's like when we started this project, right? A lot of people know Elevator One from Brilla. People were willing to sponsor his show, not because of me. And yes, I'm good at what I do, but because of the platform. Because that platform I've run on the back of someone. That result of who's carried the cross with OGBC, Cool FM, and the rest, done all these things, and build that radio station so big that people can trust it.
Yeah.
But nobody trusts Elevator TV radio. Okay? So then Amaju managed to midwife, write all that stuff, midwife himself, and get his second term. Once he got his second term, there was stability. Thank God some Montalog was removed, the Giwa case was, off his shoulder. Now he has to use the social skill to, first of all, do a cross-pollination. Go from a core PDP man who was a commissioner in Delta State to, becoming a core Nigerian. That cross-party, Lagos State government, Lagos State government is APC. Amaju is still a PDP man. Lagos State, Amaju with every other place, trying to find that balance, reaching across the aisle to make friends in different places, and then also reaching across the business community to make friends. And it took some time for them to trust him. And then they sat with him and realized, okay, this is a guy we can trust. Let's start small. I tell you, started a company that is domiciled in the Niger Delta. Started, but then very soon they didn't pay again. And then there's Coca-Cola, then there was Nike. Remember the whole show for 2018. Yeah. And then people started saying that, okay, it seems like this guy is serious. Now we have Legend. Now we have MTN. I mean, you know how long MTN have been wanting to sponsor Nigerian sports, and then they say that there's another competition telecommunication company that will not let it happen. They've been filibustering them, they've been blocking them, making sure that they don't get it. But all of a sudden, I guess Amaju have been able to heal those wounds. Not wounds that he created. These are wounds that have been there before he showed up, before he even talked of becoming NFF president. And then he's mended up. Just when all of that was happening, the man we had to come into camp and go from being a little puppy to become a dragon, a lot of himself, who was derailing the cause. They had to change again. Some people are looking at me like, Amaju is saying that sold Ahmad to us. He's not saying Ahmad is not good enough. They almost embarrassed him and disgraced him and kicked him out of camp. But somehow he was vindicated. He got it, a businessman in Patrice Mosepe back again, supporting him, and then we got to power. Truth of the matter is, call Amaju whatever you want to call him, but you call him a Captain Nigeria. Now, having done all that, I think it also shows to people that this guy's got resilience, this guy's got staying power, and he's been consistent with certain things that he says, even though sometimes he says some things that we all don't agree with, but he's been consistent with his love for Nigeria, he's been consistent with his love for football, he's been consistent with the things that he's done. So people are saying like, okay, this man is doing this. He's in CAF executive committee, he's in FIFA council. These are the high place. People love successful people. People love to wine and dine with people at the top. And because of that, the business community is like, okay, this is the guy that we can hang out with. Because I mean, if he's bringing FIFA president, we're going to be in the room with the FIFA president. If he's bringing CAF president, we're going to be in the room. So for that, what do we do to latch on to his connection? Because initially, Amaju was one needing that connection. Right now, they all need Amaju's connection because somehow Amaju might end up being the CAF president one day. There's also the opportunity of him becoming the FIFA president. You can't write anything away from him again. So right now, you need to be on his boat. If you're not on his boat, you need to anchor your top boat to his vessel because there's a possibility of all of that happening. So that's why we have what we have. Now for the LMC. it's a different kettle of fish because the brand of the national team, the primary brand is the Super Eagles. That brand is a global brand.
Yeah.
For the LMC, it is first off state brands, which is the clubs, before you come into the league, and then before you come into the performance of the country. But what you want to have is state. So a sponsor is saying, if I put my money on this league, what is the mileage I'm going to get? Have the fans, the state clubs, the Aimbas of this world, Aqua United, Plateau United, Lobby Stars, Kano Pillars, NFF, have they been able to prove that, look, individually we have at least 500,000 fans? Like, there is data to prove it because people follow data. You can prove that Super Eagles have over 20 million fans globally. There is evidence for that because of the eyeballs that is recorded every time the Super Eagles are playing, whether you like them or you hate them. That's your own head, but that's a fact that you cannot deny. But you can't prove that with AIMA, you can't prove that with Aqua United, you can't prove that with Plateau United, MFM, and the rest of them. Okay, so even if a sponsor wants to come in, a sponsor is going to price you very cheap. So if a sponsor like Baba Ijebu is giving the NFF 500 million for the Super Eagles, they will offer you like 20 million for the league. If it's a company like the next sponsor that they are going to announce now that will favor just players, this is the first time that of that kind in Africa that that's going to happen. The next sponsorship that NFF wants is about 3 billion that covers insurance. If you get injured playing for the national team now, you know you are secured, right? That sponsorship is one of the best that have ever been announced. Again, once again, thanks to the chairman of Miniola, what's it called now? What's the name of the team? Miniola Babes or Miniola FC, Olopade. Bukola, yeah, Nilayo, okay, Nilayo Babes, Bukola Olopade, for the kind of work he's done in marketing Nigerian football. This is a man who could market his own marathon, market his own business, but he's carrying Nigerian football on his shoulder and making sure that it is his personal business. And all of those things is helping. I think that one of the shortcomings of Shewiko is that Shewiko is not really a social animal. So you also see Shewiko in parties and events. And people always blame Mama Jada, he's always hanging out, he's always in events, he's always there. But those are the places where you will see the business community and be able to table your costs before them. In Warri, there's a word we always say, carry waka better pass carry sinna. You understand? So maybe in the clubs, the 20 clubs in the league, help Shewiko by marketing themselves and putting up data and numbers to prove that they have these people. Because if they can guarantee that they have 2 million people that are actively involved in their activities, eventually the sponsor will come because 2 million people is enough number. And let's say all the 20 clubs provide 2 million, that's about 40 million people. So what that does is 40 million people that are actively involved in their matter, let's say 50% of them, which is 20 million, are also signed up to NFF TV because if one of this club gets on, what is Arsenal Fan TV? That's this thing. Why is it selling? It's Arsenal fans. They're selling to Arsenal fans. They cannot stand independently. That's why it is not Robbie's TV. It starts as Robbie's TV. They will struggle the way I'm struggling. But they are banking on Arsenal fans and using it to enrich their brand. So sometimes they go overboard. So it's the same thing. If anybody, the other 19 clubs, can provide that kind of base for the league, and everybody find out that, oh, there are 40 million people to invest here, 40 million eyeballs, 40 million passionate fans to invest here. Every sponsor, Shewiko will not need to write a proposal. Shewiko will not need to go to any meeting. People will be calling his phone, his lines will be blinking everything like, oh, Shewiko, we have $500 million or 20 million naira or any one of these millions that we want to put in this because we see that your league is connecting with 40 million and counting. It's an upwardly mobile league and we want to be part of that group. That's the way the World Cup is worth 40 billion. That's why they're also thinking of doing it every 2 years because if it is 4 billion every $40 billion every year, every 4 years, we make it every 2 years. Even if we cut down, we lose 1 billion and it becomes 3 billion. It means that every 4 years we make it 6 billion and that 6 billion will be good enough to share among other places. People don't understand the economics and the politics of what is going on with these 2 years conversation, but that's going to be a topic for another day. That's the same thing that we need to do with the league. Clubs need to activate and engage their fans. In Germany, one of the things that the clubs do in Germany is that every Bundesliga club have what they call community ties. Okay, plus the 50 plus 1 arrangement of ownership, which brings community ownership. There is also this thing where every clubs go to different schools, from secondary schools and primary schools and university institutions to connect with these people. So they come in, they give you t-shirt, they give you shirt, jerseys, they make you meet the staff. As you're growing, your heart is already connected to this club. When you grow up and you decide you want to follow a club, you already know the club you're going to follow because of the impression that they made on you while they came to visit you intermittently. We need to have that. The fans of today, I mean, the most expensive commodity is attention. The fans of today need you to relate with them. If you're forming big boy, there's somebody else that they can connect with because there's already an international market that takes their attention. So if anybody wants the attention of these people, they need to do something and get to their face all the time. Same for Aqua United, same for all these people. You look at one of the things that I see. Our producer would agree with you if he have pictures he put and clips even. The what's it called? The creative championship. People always say that you cannot tell grassroots club to pay 100,000 naira to be part of any competition. Do you know that the creative championship in Lagos, to be part of it, you have to pay 2.5 million. You have to have a video cameras. You have to. There are conditions, and people are begging to be part of it. Why is it like that? If people can. Small creative championship that you're not qualified to play any competition, just to participate in that competition. You must have this condition. The same thing can happen with the LMC, and then the sponsors will come in. So it's not rocket science, but you just have to do the right thing. But unfortunately, unlike Amaju who already have a ready-made product that have a global following, Sheodiko is suffering because the 20 clubs are not even interested to socialize. And there's nothing to sell.
You are listening to Elegbete TV Radio.